Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Average Uninformed. This is going to be a spoiler-filled episode for Aquaman. So if you haven't seen it, this is your warning. Otherwise, enjoy. We can start whenever. I've been recording for the last 3.5 minutes.
Good day, Victor.
Good night, Josh.
Good evening. Bonsoir. How you doing this week?
I'm sick, apparently.
Yeah, you are. You sound a little sick.
Yep.
You got that sexy phlegm voice?
Nope, it's just gross.
I don't know. I mean, the phlegm is not sexy, but you got that I always start sounding like Sam Elliott when I get a cold.
I don't know what that is.
Sam Elliott? Yeah. Never mind.
And I got this.
It's too late.
I got this lovely.
It's too late at night for me to explain every reference I make.
Yeah, it's great. I got this nasal spray because I was at the grocery store today.
Yeah.
I'll try it. I hate nasal sprays. And ruined my day. It ruined 6 hours of my day today because that's how long it lasted. At the back of my nostrils.
So what did it feel? I've never used a nasal spray.
Oh, it's back of your throat, a little bit higher up.
Uh-huh.
Just like, when you breathe in water, I had that feeling all morning.
Oh, so yeah, I know that feeling. I hate that.
Worst $3.29 I've ever spent.
I once had a cyst in my neck.
Ew.
At one point, and so I was getting a checkup for it, and there was a specialist, and he wanted to look at it, and so to look at it, he wanted to go through my sinuses, and so he took a camera and shoved it in my nose and like down my throat through my nose. It was the worst feeling I've ever experienced. And then when he was done, he pulled it all out, and it's just
feel good.
It didn't. Just imagine someone is just picking your nose for you, and then they just keep going further and further back into your skull.
Oh, good. That's exactly what I want to picture right now.
It was an awful feeling, Victor, and not even worth it because he was like, yeah, we're not going to operate.
Oh,
you just keep the cyst. Give it a name. It'll be fine.
I'm going to call it Cisco. Cisco.
Oh, man.
It's gross. It ruined the name for me.
Can I tell you a story that happened last week?
Yes.
So I was,
stop you.
Apropos of nothing, I was just sitting at home working on Friday, and then suddenly there was a knock at the door. And so I went over and opened the door, and the police were there. And they were like, hey, we got a call about your neighbor's well-being. Have you seen her lately? And then so right away, you're kind of going like, oh, wait, I saw her, but was that yesterday or was that 3 days ago?
Terrible memory, Josh.
Well, it's like it's not like I stopped and talked to her or anything. You see her outside smoking or something like that. And anyway, so I was like, oh man,
I don't worry about her smoking habits.
No, I didn't. I couldn't remember when I saw her last, but it was definitely not within 24 hours. Yeah. And so the police started asking me more questions, kind of confirming her identity and stuff like that. And then they're like, does she have a car? And where does she park it? And stuff like that. And so I was like, I really don't. I've talked to her twice since she's moved in, and I only learned her name from another tenant in the building. So I don't know her very well. And so anyway, I was like, if you want answers, the super lives right upstairs. He probably knows more than I do. And so they went and left. And so then I was kind of left reeling, and I was thinking okay, I know that she's divorced, but I thought it was a fairly amicable thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe she's on the run from her husband and she's been kidnapped, and maybe she's in danger. Maybe she's dead in a ditch somewhere or whatever. And then so later on in the day, I hear her in her apartment, and I'm like, okay, so she's safe. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding. And then later on in the day, the super went and talked to her, and I'm friends with the super. Makes sense. I was like, hey, what was going on with that? And he's like, she doesn't really like her job, so she just stopped going for 2 weeks and wouldn't answer her phone. So her work called the police on her. Good. And I was like, good for them. Most jobs would just be like, hey, you haven't shown up in 2 weeks, so I'm sorry, but you're fired. But good for them to actually being like, we're worried about you.
Well, to be fair, they probably tried to call her to fire her, but she didn't pick up.
Well, maybe, but you think they would just leave a message and be like, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that happened this week.
It's a very responsible move of your neighbor there.
It's one way to quit a job, that's for sure. Yeah.
It's what you do when you're working a part-time job at Walmart. Just don't show up.
You just don't show up?
Yeah. Well, that's how people quit. I used to run the seasonal department.
That's right.
And people would just not show up for a couple of shifts, and I just assumed they were fired. But it turns out exactly that. They decide not to show up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, between that and the fire a few weeks ago, it sounds like I live in a ghetto, but I assure you it's not.
You live in like the most expensive town in the GTA.
It's true.
Or I think it's the most. It's got like the
it's where all the
GPA.
rich people reside who work in Toronto. But yeah, but I managed to find the cheapest apartment in a nice area. But anyway, that's what happened to me this week. You want to talk about some news or something?
No, I'll just sit here and stare into your lovely eyes.
Oh, thank you. Be careful not to get lost in the deep blue of them.
Blue.
You want to talk about some trailers? Or you want to talk some news?
Oh, trailers.
Trailers? All right. So there was a Hellboy trailer this week.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of it?
I was so excited for this, but I was so let down.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like
well, I had no idea that Guillermo del Toro was planning a third movie, but then
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like he was planning a third movie. I didn't find out until yesterday. One of my friends told me after I mentioned the trailer. I vented to him about the current trailer. Looks good from like a story standpoint. Like it's a reboot, obviously. Or if it isn't, they did not communicate that very well. But the makeup and CG for him
it's weird, right? It's like there's just something a little off about it.
Like the quality of it looks very good, but they've caked on so much to his face and they've padded his body out so much that like his left hand, like his normal human left hand, looks too small. It reminds me of like that guy from Scary Movie 2, that weird butler with like his deformed hand. Grab my strong hand. That's what it looked like. Well, when he's like, he puts at one point in the trailer, he puts his left hand on his chest. I think he's pointing to himself.
Yeah,
and it looks like a child's hand.
Well, it's also like his what's it called? The right hand of doom.
Yeah,
is the big hand. It adds like half a foot to his other arm. It makes it look so weird.
Yeah, because like I think if you line it up, like line both his hands up, his left hand would connect with like midway on his forearm.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't look good.
How did it? I don't remember it looking weird in the other two movies.
I think it was a little longer, but not quite as long as that. And I'm not sure if Ron Perlman actually had control of the hand or not, or whether he just kind of had to make a fist and it was over top of it or not. Yeah, it didn't look as long. And I just don't. I'm with you. I don't really like the look. I don't really like the long hair.
Yeah,
like the let down hair. And it's a weird thing to gripe about, but there's no other like weird members of the BRPD. Is that what it's called? BRPD?
Sure. Let's go with that.
Like there's no Abe Sapien or is it Klaus who was
there's a picture of it, of the first Hellboy.
Yeah, so it goes down it goes down to his wrist, but
it doesn't look as weird. I don't know why.
It's weird that because wasn't it in the comics it was his left hand, right?
I don't think so.
Because I thought it was supposed to be on his left hand, but Ron Perlman was a lefty. So they changed it to the right hand for him. I remember reading that.
Nope, it's on his right hand.
I know, that's what I mean. Is that
no, the comics.
In the comics.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess I made that up.
I was really hoping they would give him like his like weird demon feet, like the goat feet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd think they'd do that, but I guess they don't have the budget for it.
Yeah, because they spent so much on like makeup and cosmetic for his face. I mean, it's unfair. The guy who played Ron Perlman, was that it?
Yeah.
Like, kind of looked Hellboyish.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like they didn't have to on him.
They didn't have to do as much makeup as they do on David Harbour.
Well, like there's a few close-ups of him in the trailer, and like you can tell there's definitely like at least 5 layers of crap.
Yeah.
Because like you don't see his eyebrow movement. It looks like, there's one shot where he raises his eyebrows.
And it's like he's lifting up a mass, like he's Atlas underneath the globe.
Well, it kind of looks like that eyebrow was made specifically for that scene, made to look cocked.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Swap out eyebrows.
Oh, I remember what I was saying before. It's weird. I miss like Abe Sapien, and I think it's Klaus, who was like the ghost in the diver suit.
Oh, I remember.
Like there's a few other ones. I honestly haven't read a lot of Hellboy, but
I haven't read any.
Like that's what I liked is the team aspect of it. Like he was an interesting character, but like it feels weird when it's just him and Daniel Day Kim and some black woman I don't know running around.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I thought I looked up their names, but
basically to sum it up is like it feels like we just had 2 glasses of Coke and then they're like, hey, do you want one more? And they give you a Diet Coke and you're like, this is okay, but it's not. I wanted Coke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you finish that Diet Coke and then they're like, do you want a Coke? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And they give you another Diet Coke. And that's the Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
That's kind of what it is.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway.
Except you had 3 Cokes. No, wait. No, I opened 3 Diet Cokes. Spider-Man 3. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, let's just step away from this pop analogy. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts about the Hellboy trailer? It's a weird song. I liked it.
There's a lot of humor in that.
Yeah, like it at the very least, it's like, oh, okay, it looks fun.
But yeah, outside of that, there's not much.
Yeah.
I'll wait for another trailer.
Yeah. I probably won't see it right away. April is a heavy month for movies.
Well, luckily for us, we don't have much going on in April.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Just only Avengers and Shazam and...
crap.
Lots of movies coming out. Did you see the Men in Black International trailer?
I did.
What'd you think of that?
You know, it's funny because, we have trailers and then we have international trailers. So when you say Men in Black International trailer...
I thought that the same thing today, too.
Definitely not what I expected. Story-wise, I was expecting thought of probably like a soft reboot.
Yeah.
But
there's 2 portraits of Men in Black agents fighting off alien threats, and one of them was the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
It was K and J fighting the Edgar suit Roach.
Yeah. Actually, I found that trailer a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and I didn't really know what to make of it. As going in, I thought Chris Hemsworth was going to be the rookie, and Tessa Thompson was going to be the one who was seasoned. It's weird because in the trailer they're like, is it Agent H? I think it was Agent Hemsworth is like our best agent, and then every time he opens his mouth, he's just saying something dumb. And you're like,
he's like,
so is he the best agent? Like,
best of the best of the best of the best, sir.
With honors. He's just really excited and probably has no idea why we're here. I can't believe that's the second time we've referenced that particular line.
It's a good line.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, there's a little Thor joke at the end.
What did you think of that?
I didn't make the connection until I saw someone say, "Hey, there's a Thor reference." I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess he threw a hammer."
Like the shot the way they filmed that shot, it's very Thor-esque. Also, the way he lets go of the hammer, I realized how weird it was because he just opens his hand, almost he's about to give you a handshake. Yeah. Kind of. It's not a
probably because he didn't actually throw a hammer. He probably was just miming it.
No, but that's not a normal throwing gesture. Like,
how would you throw it?
Well, like I'm holding a stick and I go to throw it. By the time I let go, the stick should be at about like 2:00. Like kind of aiming towards you, but like.
So you're saying he throws like that? This is great podcasting, by the way. No one can see us doing our hand gestures at each other.
And like when Thor throws it, it's like it's pointing straight up, like 12:00. Like
well, it's a magic hammer, Victor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's weird.
Anyway, Kumail Nanjiani plays one of the aliens in Men in Black.
I have no idea who that is.
He is the, oh man, I don't want to mess up the country he's from. Is he Afghani? He's the guy from The Big Sick. Do you remember The Big Sick?
No.
Okay. I don't know. He's a very funny comedian. I like him a lot.
What was his part in the MIB?
He was like this little tiny alien. He had like one line in it. You would recognize it. He has very thick eyebrows.
Okay. It's really weird. Like normally I'd see a trailer like that. Like it's for a franchise I really like. I'd watch a trailer a few times, but I don't know. Today I was just like, yep, once was enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to bed.
Yeah. What'd you think of Tessa Thompson in that?
I really like her and Chris Hemsworth together.
They have good chemistry, yeah.
I thought the same thing. I thought she was going to be the like champion agent.
The seasoned professional.
Mm-hmm. But maybe they're just overdoing that role with like the strong female character, and they're like, oh, let's put the guy back in the vet seat because that'll throw people off, and it did.
It did. You're right. It did. So yeah, it piqued my interest. I think I need to see another trailer, whether before I decide I'm absolutely going to see it or not. But
all I will say, it does feel more like a Thor and Valkyrie on Earth movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get much of.
They're playing the same characters.
I guess they're just playing Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, right?
I mean, I guess that is what they are at this point.
Yeah, I like Chris Hemsworth, so that works for me. I like Tessa Thompson. Liam Neeson is also in it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm sure they didn't show a lot of it because a lot of it is special effects and stuff, and then maybe they haven't finished it, but it looks fine.
Wait for another trailer.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it for trailers. There was some Spider-Verse news. Spider-Verse 2 will have a romance between Miles and Gwen.
Of course. Makes sense.
How do you feel about that?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's expected. I'm glad they didn't cram that into the first movie, but I guess they hinted at it enough that, explore it.
Yeah, they did kind of hint at it, but yeah.
I've done long distance relationships before, but across dimensions,
it's a little tough.
Mm-hmm.
A little tough.
Can't even text them.
I'm fine with that, I guess. The Spider-Woman movie that was announced a few weeks ago, that will star Gwen, Jessica Drew, and Silk.
3 main characters that they're introducing?
No, it's Gwen Stacy from...
Wait, is this an
Spider-Verse? Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like a live action movie.
No. My understanding is it's in the animated universe.
Oh, well, then I feel much better about this movie then.
Yeah. I think we talked a little bit about Jessica Drew, but do you know anything about Silk?
I think she was bit at the same time Peter Parker was bit, but then she was sealed off to develop her powers or something like that. And then she escaped one day, and her and Peter have this weird chemistry together.
Like a pheromone chemistry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read an issue where that happened. And she can make, like, she has organic webs, right? Like,
yeah,
she can
and
just
it comes
make
from her
them.
fingertips.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, does she have, like, little...
Sacs in her tips?
Sacs in her tips, or, like, sphincters in her tips for them to come out? Like, that's weird.
Usually you'd have the sac at the base, right? But at the tip, it's...
Okay.
Yep.
Moving on. Amy Pascal. You know who that is?
Sony related.
Yeah, she's a Sony producer for the Spider-Man films.
Mm-hmm. Boy, it must be nice for her to finally get a winner.
I know, right? She says she is committed to keeping the Spidey in the MCU.
Oh, nice.
So someone was asking her about like what's going to happen after Far From Home, because I think that's the last contracted movie between the deal, like the deal between them.
I thought it was 3 movies.
I thought so too, but I think it was 3 MCU movies and 2 solo movies. Maybe it's 3, but I don't know. But they were asking what's going to happen when the deal is done, and she's like, "Well, I'm going to try my darndest to make sure that he stays where he is," which is good news.
Yeah,
it means squat to me because she's one producer and she has a lot of control, but I don't think she has all the control over it.
Yeah,
but she is responsible along with Kevin Feige for the deal in the first place. So you never know.
Well, hopefully that'd be good news. You can drag Venom back into it too.
Well, do you have any news yourself, Victor?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Do you want to get into our topic for the week then?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Aquaman.
Also, it seems a little underwhelming that like it's Aquaman versus, what's his brother's name? What's his title?
Ocean Master.
Ocean Master and Aquaman.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's the funny thing too, is that like with the movie, by the way, we watched Aquaman. If you didn't catch it from us just telling you that.
Josh literally said Aquaman.
And the title, you clicked on the title as well.
And as usual, from this point on, probably spoilers.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen the film.
We're going to spoil it. Every time someone called him Aquaman or like he announced it or anything like that, it's just a ridiculous name.
Oh, it's awful.
It's like Aquaman. Granted, Aquaman sounds cooler than Waterman, but it's still it's ridiculous.
Yeah, at least it rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Yeah. But what do you want to do? Do you want
to just go through the movie real quick, just the plot?
Well, what did you think of it first, Victor? Your general.
I really liked it. I would definitely put up there with Man of Steel, if not better. But I don't know how much that says, considering a lot of people don't like Man of Steel. But I don't know. Like, it was a fun movie.
Yeah, I would put it up there too. I wouldn't disagree with that.
They kind of go through. It's nice that it's not just like another origin story.
Yeah,
like very cookie cutter. Like they've clearly figured out that people are getting tired and worn.
I mean, it was and it wasn't. It was basically Black Panther and Thor had a wet baby.
Oh, that's awful.
Like, because it was actually very close to Black Panther in the sense that it was the reverse.
Yeah.
But it was about him figuring out how to be a king. And like he already has his powers and stuff like that. They do a little bit of like in the past of like him growing up and how he was trained.
But they kind of did the same thing with how they did with the Man of Steel's origin. Kind of weaved it in and out. The
transitions were a lot better in this movie than in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
For the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. But they were actually talking about the thing that he flashed back to instead of just like, hey, there's a school bus. I remember when I saved those kids.
By the way, save some kids. It's really cool. I got yelled at for it.
Yeah. I would say I like this movie too. It was fine though. It didn't blow my skirt up.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But I'd probably put it like, I think I liked Wonder Woman better still, but definitely liked it better than the rest.
I actually think like of the two movies you mentioned, I think I would put this above Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I disagree with you, but you know what? We're not talking about Black Panther.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Black Panther one day, I think. But Aquaman, you want to go through the plot real quick?
Yeah, sure.
You got it? Because I kind of was lost a little bit.
I mean, it takes place after Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
It's mentioned once or twice that he saved the world, Aquaman.
Right, with the Justice League.
Yeah. Jeez, I'm trying to remember this now.
Okay, well, let me see. Let me see if I can remember. Let me help you out here. Okay, so Orm is Aquaman's half-brother. What are you going to call him?
I almost called him Thor.
Thor?
Thor's half-brother.
Thor's half-brother, Orm. He has decided that he wants to start a war with the surface world because Aquaman is the only other heir to the throne. He's the only one with the power to kind of challenge his authority and say, let's not do that. And so the entire movie is, I almost called him Thor myself. Aquaman is trying to find the original trident of the first king of Atlantis.
So which apparently holds a very strong power that no other trident has.
Only the true heir of the throne can wield it. And then so he's looking for that. Meanwhile, Orm is trying to unite the 7 seas.
Yeah. Or the 7 kingdoms.
The 7 kingdoms under the sea.
There's only 4.
Yeah, he only needs majority, right?
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, because there's one group that is, they call them the trenched.
Yeah.
And they're just a bunch of like rabid sea creatures that you'd picture if I said like creature from the Blue Lagoon.
Milky eyes and sharp teeth and jagged teeth and just gross fins and stuff like that. But,
so we don't need them.
And so he's trying to form all the armies so that they can go take out the surface world.
That's pretty much it. Resolves in a big CGI fight at the end.
That was the thing though. All the CGI, there was never a point where I was just like, well, this is crappy. Like everything looks great. Yeah. I really like the design of Atlantis. Mm-hmm. I liked the design of the sea creatures and stuff like that. I liked that people sometimes had loose hair underwater and like that always looked good. Like it just kind of floating in the water.
Yeah, that caught my eye too.
Because that would be extremely difficult to animate and it always looked great.
And also they did some effect on the voices when they're underwater.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you notice it, but it wasn't distracting.
Yeah, it was kind of like, there's no better way to describe it. It just sounds like they're underwater, but it's like a speaker underwater or something like that. Not like someone speaking, like not like someone talking underwater, but
yeah. Like if I heard just their conversation just quickly, I wouldn't have guessed that they were underwater, but
yeah,
seeing it and hearing it. Yeah. You can put that to
yeah. It's a little distorted, but it's not distracting. Like you said. Anyway, what did you like about the movie, Victor?
A lot of shit going on. Like how long is the movie? We say 2 hours?
Probably a little bit over,
but like it didn't feel overly long.
Oh, really? I disagree. It felt really long to me.
At one point, they're looking for a specific item. I don't know. Like, I understand that they have to kind of cut things short so you're not watching like a 4-hour movie. Mm-hmm. So that every point that they hit, it's like you're hitting a bullseye. Like, oh, yep, that's exactly what we came here for. And that's exactly what we got. Mm-hmm. And this is pointing exactly where we need to go. Like, I don't like it when the movies do that, but I'd see why. Like, I don't like I said earlier, like they definitely had to do a bunch of stuff. Like obviously him going to a bunch of locations to find the location of the trident, but it never felt like there wasn't any part in that movie where I felt like it could have been cut out. They could have been faster and like pacing could have been a little bit better, but for the most part, none of it was like, I don't know why we're here.
It was around the part where Black Manta attacks them in Sicily that I was like, there's still so much left in this movie.
Oh yeah, we got Black Manta's origin in this too.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I guess I'll go into it now, but like, I didn't like Aquaman for the first half of the movie. No. Like not the movie itself, like the character. I didn't like him. The first time we really see him as a man, like there's some flashbacks, but a sub it's
being pirated
by Black Manta and his dad and a few other high-tech pirates.
Yeah.
And Aquaman shows up and saves the day. But there is a fight where he's fighting Black Manta's dad and stabs him in the shoulder and then throws a missile, like a torpedo, on top of him.
No, actually, his dad actually threw a grenade.
Well, and
shot.
he shoots a grenade and it blows a hole in the side so that the ballast is now sinking
and then the
into
torpedo like falls on him because of that.
And like, there's even a point where like Black Manta is trying to lift the torpedo, and he's like, "What are you doing? Save him! Like he's going to die here." And Aquaman is just like, "Well, he killed a lot of innocent people, so he deserves to die." And I'm like, that's kind of a dick move. Like, you're the hero. Like, you're supposed to save him. Like, and the entire time I'm just thinking in this scene, it's just like, this is all just like to give Black Manta motivation to go after Aquaman. And it's just, there was the only really contrived moment I thought in it, because I was just like, this is not the way you wanted it to go down, because I'm watching this movie and now I don't like Aquaman. I'm siding with Black Manta because I think he's absolutely right. Yes, I'm a bad guy, but you're leaving this man to die.
But I do like that he reflects back on that later in the movie and realizes, probably shouldn't have done that.
I guess so, but yeah. But anyway, I didn't like Aquaman until they were in the desert. That was when I was just like, okay, like my brain kind of switched off, and it's just like, this is not Aquaman, this is Jason Momoa or something like that. Like I started, because he started flirting, I guess, with Mara, so he started being a little bit more funny and stuff and more likable. But yeah, that was the main moment where I was just like, I don't like you. Like, you're not a good hero. Like, I don't want to root for you.
I thought you were going to say it's because he offered to pee on the little artifact that they found.
Yeah.
Actually, you always said, I don't know what episode I said, that I didn't think Jason Momoa could carry a movie on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I have any doubt in him, but just like I haven't seen him in like a leading role.
Yeah.
Where he's actually proved it. But I really like him in this role.
He was okay.
It's like my favorite part of the movie.
And I'll admit, going in, I think we talked about it before, I really don't like his take on the character, like the broiness of it. I just didn't like it. And as the movie started, and as I said, like I was just like, yeah, I don't like him. And it wasn't until later that I was like, all right, you're kind of wearing me down a little bit. I'm not rooting for you, but I don't hate you anymore. Like, and that was the thing with Orm too, because like before that, he actually goes down to Atlantis and he confronts Orm, and Orm's like, we're going to attack the surface because they've been treating the ocean like a garbage dump, and they've been killing whales and they've been fishing, like overfishing and just killing because, and I'm just like, he kind of has a point. I'm not saying kill all the surface people, but like, I can understand why he's mad.
Yeah. When he said that, I was like, yeah, I get it. I can see that.
Yeah.
Who plays his dad?
He's a New Zealand actor. I don't know his name, but he played Jango Fett.
He looked really familiar.
Yeah. So he played all the clones in Star Wars, like the prequels.
That's a lot of roles.
Really filled up his IMDb. It was Jango Fett, clones, various.
No, clones all.
Yeah, there was a nice little prologue where Nicole Kidman played, I think her name was Atlanta. She was the queen of Atlantis, and she washed up on shore, and a lighthouse keeper finds her. Jango Fett finds her, and they make a baby together.
I mean, his dad saves her and then like kind of introduces her to the world a little bit, and like this little montage. They just like meet up and, hey, baby? Yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's true. I did believe their love story.
Yeah.
But
like when she first like wakes up on his couch, she straight up eats a goldfish. I guess she's hungry, but like he walks in on her swallowing the goldfish.
Yeah.
And they don't address it. And it kind of bothered me a little bit. Like,
what do you mean? What do you mean they didn't address it?
Like she ate it. He was like, okay, that was weird. I can make you eggs.
Well, he said, don't eat my dog.
Did he?
Yes. Yeah, I think he knew that she was not from around here, though, by that point. But yeah, but I get what you're saying. Did you notice how many times people threw up water in this movie?
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
It was like 3 or 4 different people, and it's not just like it was like full on projectile vomiting of water.
I guess because there's only certain Atlanteans that can breathe outside.
Yeah, they never really explained that, because there's like guys who are wearing like these cool reverse deep sea diver suits where it's like they're in a suit that's filled with seawater.
Yeah.
And then, like someone will break their helmet and then they're like, there was one guy who like shoved his head in a toilet to survive and stuff. But then there's like, at the end, they fight on top of a sub, and like the people who look like fish stick their heads out of the water and are watching and are breathing fine.
Maybe they're just holding their breath.
I don't know. Anyway, that's nitpicking though.
Yeah.
So when she at the end of the prologue, after they've had a kid, these Atlanteans show up and she kills them all because basically she has gone missing. She ran away from the throne. She was betrothed to somebody and ran off, and she met the lighthouse keeper, and then they had their love affair. And so she decides after she kills all these guys that she needs to go back to Atlantis because they're never going to stop.
Yeah.
They found her now. And so she said, they walk to the end of the dock and she's hugging everybody and she's saying goodbye. And she says to the father of Aquaman, she's just like, look for me. One day I'll return at sunrise. And I just kept thinking, so he's going to have to get up before sunrise every day for the rest of his life until you show up.
I was thinking is that she shows up at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, imagine that was the one day he decided, it's cold. I'm sick.
You know what I thought? He was just like, I can finally sleep in. Because I mean, like, there's certain people who were up before the crack of dawn, but like every day it was like for 30 years too.
But I mean, it's Nicole Kidman. Imagine
she is still a pretty lady. Yeah. Did you know? Do you think there was the CGI de-aging stuff going on in some of the scenes?
Definitely on his dad and Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, like in the flashbacks, like he definitely looks like he had it done.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, because I was noticing and I was like, is that CGI or is that just makeup? Because it didn't look like so great that it was like, wow, that's definitely CGI. But it was just enough that it's like, yeah, they look a little younger. Maybe it was done with makeup. Maybe not. But
no, I feel like there was definitely enough to it that I would say CGI. I'm gonna look up this. Oh, also didn't know King Nereus was Dolph Lundgren.
Oh yeah.
That threw me off.
He was good.
Yeah,
I liked him.
Did you notice the H.P. Lovecraft book on his dad's coffee table at the beginning of the movie?
I did not, but that's Cthulhu, right?
Yeah.
It's H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, we're going to have like some kind of Cthulhu-looking creature.
And they did.
And they did at the end. It was a creature that was guarding the trident.
Yeah. So it would, that was the thing too. I really liked the design of it before they did the big reveal of like its entire body. I liked that it was just like kind of tentacles, and I was like, I thought one of them was like the lead tentacle. It was like the head, but alas, it was just a tentacle.
Well, it's kind of its legs. So just picture it. He's laying back, fighting Aquaman with his legs.
You're just kicking him like a toddler.
He's like, and with his one like weird lobster claw, he's like drinking like a beer or something.
He's like, you have no idea how many people have come to try to take the trident.
I used to go full out, but at this point,
I've been here for a while, man.
I said what, 1,000 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Couple of gens.
I'm going to talk about Orm's plan because I don't really understand Atlantean law. Yeah. So maybe you can enlighten me here. So in order to, he is the king of his people.
Yes.
And then there's 7 other races and they all
six
other
kingdoms.
Ones, right? There's 7 altogether. And they all have their kings and or queens.
Yeah.
And so in order for him to decide to attack the surface, he needs a majority from the other 7 kingdoms.
I think, yes.
And so he first goes to Dolph Lundgren. Lundgren. And he says, hey, let's do it. And Dolph is like, no, I don't want to. And then, but little do we know, he has arranged with Black Manta to attack them at that exact moment. So he's like, oh man, the surface people are bad. We better join forces. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like Orm is the only one in the entire movie who's like, surface dwellers are bad. Like no one under him is like, yeah, I agree with the king. Like
there was no like agreements or opposition from anyone.
Yeah,
except from like the supporting cast.
Well, like, dude, who in the supporting cast? I guess there was one guy who was like the lead henchman who ended up sticking his head in the toilet at one point. But like, they never talked about whether they hate the surface dwellers or not. But I don't know. I just didn't like it. It just seemed everyone was kind of following him blindly.
Like Mara showed like detest for them, but nothing like she didn't really hate them. She's just like, they're gross. It's weird up here.
I just didn't understand because it was like he went around, he got Dolph Lundgren, and then they went to the fishermen who were like mermaid people, basically.
Yeah, merfolk.
and he's like, no, we're not going to join you in killing the surface. And he's like, okay. And then so he kills the king, and then he's like, hey, princess, now you're in charge. Let's kill the surface. And she's like, I guess. Like, I mean, you just murdered my father in front of me, but I guess so. And then the climax of the movie is they're trying to get the brine, which are like crustacean.
Yeah. Which I thought were really cool.
Yeah, I really liked them.
You know what was awful though? The first thing I thought of when I saw them, I was like, Mr. Krabs.
Mr.
SpongeBob.
From SpongeBob. I thought Clawful from Masters of the Universe. From
Oh,
He-Man.
yeah.
I don't know what else to say at this point.
What was your question?
The question is just like, why? No one else seemed to be on board with the plan, but they're just kind of going along with it because he was the bad guy.
Yeah, I feel like that was something that was cut out, and it's
because there was one point where Mira, who we haven't really talked about, but Mira turns to her dad, which is Dolph Lundgren, and she's like, you could stop this, and he's like, yeah, and then she's like, oh, you want to kill the surface, and he's like,
it's time. It's time they knew. Also, there's a guy named Rocky up there. It's really pissing me off.
I must break him. I'm trying to think. Well, you know what? Let's break down a few of the characters. Like, we didn't talk about Mara at all, really. What do you think of Mara?
Actually, that was weird. So Mara is, I guess, fuck. What's the other king's name? King Aramis?
Like Dolph Lundgren's?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't catch any of the names for things.
Yeah. Well, she was a daughter. Like, she was his daughter, and she was supposed to marry Orm when he took the throne.
Right.
But she leaves because she's opposed to his views. And at the end of the movie, him and Arthur get together. That's kind of weird.
It's a little weird.
Girlfriend.
But she didn't like Orm. And she even said that at one point. She said,
did she? Okay.
When they were in the airplane, she said, he said, like, but you don't love him. And she's like, it's not about love. It's about serving my nation and serving my country or whatever, serving my people.
Oh, actually, one thing I didn't like about Black Panther is that they killed off the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a really good character. I liked him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they were going to do the same thing here, but they just arrest Orm. And he actually goes willingly because I guess he's like, he sees his mother is alive. She tells him that Arthur rescued him. So he's like, okay, well, I will stop because I've clearly lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Arthur turns to him at the end. He's like, when you're ready, we'll talk.
Yeah, I did like that too. And again, it shows, I guess, the scene that I didn't like him in, where he just let Black Manta's dad die. It's kind of like the opposite of that, where it's just like, you know what? We can save you. Yeah. And
character growth.
I didn't like it at the beginning, though. I'm like, I don't like this guy. He's this biker douche who just lets people die in subs.
William Dafoe's character. He's like the...
Volko was his name.
Volko.
He was like the vizier, I believe that is. So it's just an advisor, but he trained Aquaman. Yeah, there was a good moment with him, Orm, and him. Right before Orm reveals that he knew that Volko has betrayed him.
Yeah,
and he's just like, ever since he was a little kid, you have been training him to come and take my throne. Mm-hmm. What the heck, man? Like, what did I do to you? And he was just like, well, it's because you're the bad guy. Yeah. What? Say it again? Because you're the bad guy, I guess.
You're gonna be the bad guy in like 25 years, man. I'm gonna stop you now.
Like, it's not like he was an evil child. Like, maybe he was. I don't know. But why now? Why did he suddenly decide now, when they're in their 30s, that he's going to destroy the surface?
Just years of neglect.
Yeah. There was a lot of action scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like one of those movies where it's just like, we go from this action scene and then there's a 5-minute scene and then we go to that action scene.
It's a variety too. You got a chase scene. You got like a close quarter combat in the submarine.
Mm-hmm.
You got like the gladiator arena, the giant war CGI at the end, followed by another gladiator duel. That's pretty good variety.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you have 2 chase scenes.
Yeah. And we didn't talk about Black Manta, really. What'd you think of him and his big dumb helmet?
I like that they gave a reason for it.
I kind of liked him a lot.
Well, like, it didn't make sense. Like, they gave him a gun. Like, his helmet was originally, like, the parts in it were used to make up a gun. Mm-hmm. And he fires it off. He's like, whoa, that's cool. That does a lot of damage. That's very destructive. I'm going to put those things in front of my face. He dismantles it. Yeah. And then, like, puts it in his helmet, does a test of the helmet, but the helmet blows up. Like, it's a big gash in the center. He's like, oh, shit. I need a bigger helmet. But it's like, he built it maybe 50% bigger.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. It's also like you failed against Aquaman in the beginning of the movie. So we're going to give you Atlantean technology so that you can fight him again and win. And like the next scene, like the immediate next scene is he's dismantling everything and like taking apart the gun and stuff like that. And I just imagine like, what if he screwed up and he's just like, hey, did you happen to have another one of those prototype guns that could?
No.
No?
It's a prototype.
Do you not understand what a prototype is? So what happened to it? I kind of took it apart.
I wanted to put it into a helmet.
I forgot how to put it back together.
Put it in a helmet? That's ridiculous. That thing is so destructive.
Blow your head up.
But at the, like in, where are they? Where are they at? Italy somewhere?
Yeah, Sicily, Italy.
Sicily. So Aquaman beats the crap out of him at the end. Like they were pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, I like that.
But he beats the crap out of him, and then he gets thrown off a cliff, or he falls off a cliff, or he jetpacks into a cliff and then falls.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage. And then like you see him kind of fall into like the waters with the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time you see him, he's on a piece of wood drifting in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that's not how the tides work.
That's exactly how the tides work. Because I remember you mentioned that in the theater, and I was like, no, Josh, that's clearly not how water works.
If you're 10 feet away from the ocean, you're not going to get pulled out to sea.
No. See, things that are a little bit further away from the shore get pulled in. But if you're right on the shore, it'll pull you out. That's how the ocean works. I learned that. Well,
obviously, I didn't grow up in the Maritimes, Victor. so sue me. All right. But that was weird.
Yeah, it was kind of stupid.
I didn't understand that.
Where did that piece of wood come from? There wasn't a lot of like wood debris.
No.
That went with him.
But he survived.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad they didn't kill him. And
yeah, I liked him a lot. I was rooting for him for the first half of the movie. I was like, yes, get your revenge on Aquaman.
So actually his Black Manta's dad gives him a knife from his grandfather.
Yes.
And he's like, this was a knife that he depended on to survive.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it to me, and now I'm giving it to you. And he pulls the knife out. But if you look at the blade, it's so chipped and like poorly taken care of.
Yeah, it's really old.
I don't think he cared. I don't know if he cared that much about that knife. Like I immediately like lost interest in that knife.
Well, it was really just to be like, they called him Manta. Think about that later when you're choosing a name for yourself.
I don't want to be just any kind of manta. Black Manta.
I don't like the way you said black. Yeah, I liked him a lot. He was, as far as like ridiculous old 60s costumes go, like it's probably like the best way to adapt it.
Cool costume. Why the big head? Oh, because it's a big gun.
You didn't want to like put it on your chest or,
maybe your hands.
Put it.
I don't know. Just
somewhere you can aim instead of your head.
Yeah, maybe you can put like some thrusters on the bottom of your feet. Oh wait, he did have jets.
He had some jets. There was one point too where he like jumps off a building and lands like half a foot into the ground.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, what if he just broke his leg right there?
Well, he's not wearing like a mechanized suit. He's wearing like a diver suit with like padding, like Atlantean padding on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a huge flaw.
And like to the point like where he steps out of the hole he made when he landed.
I remember. Well, it kind of falls into that issue with like Arthur's just knocking out his henchmen left and right when he first enters the sub. But then he takes a bunch of hits from him.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things you have to like kind of suspend your disbelief.
Well, it's also, I don't know anything about martial arts, but my understanding is there's blocks and then there's like blocks that like roll the punches off your body.
Yeah.
So that it's like less of an impact. Because otherwise they're just punching your forearms and it still hurts.
Right? Would they call that a parry?
I don't know. I think parry is a sword fighting thing.
Actually, if I had one nitpick.
Okay.
So on their way to the trench, to those weird fish dudes, it was after the Black Manta fight.
Mm-hmm.
Crap. What's his name? Alfred?
Like Aquaman's real name?
Yeah.
Arthur.
Dang it.
Arthur Curry, I believe his name is.
No, but so they're on a fishing boat towards this place.
Mm-hmm.
And so Arthur's like kind of talking to Mara, saying like, don't really want to do this. Like we should turn back. Like I'm not a king. Like I'm like a blunt instrument. Like I'm good at what I do. I take things head on, but I'm no leader. I'm no king.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, her reasoning was like, oh, but you're a man of two worlds. That's why you deserve to be king. And it's like, he listed a bunch of things off that is like a good reason for him not to be king. Those are completely irrelevant.
I think the movie would have been so much better. She's like, you're kind of right. Maybe let's turn around like this.
Or like, how about you do the king stuff and then you hand it over to me after, and then you can go back to your weird like beach. Actually, I'm glad they did that fight at the end with him and Orm, like on the Atlantean boat.
Okay, there's a nitpick for me. Okay, so they're in the middle of this giant fight. They have like 3 armies fighting the brine, and they're just all killing each other. And I'm kind of like, that was when I was really like, all these innocent people are dying. And it's just like, just because they're serving Orm.
Yeah.
And no one's on board with him. But anyway, so they're all fighting and they're killing each other. And then Aquaman shows up on the Kraken or whatever it's called.
The Kraken.
The giant. It wasn't the Kraken. It was like Krathen or something like that. But he shows up on it with the trident, and he's just mowing down guys left and right, killing both sides. And it's like,
that's how you do it.
Why? Like, he's just like, I'm going to be the king of all the seas because I'm killing everybody. And then so finally the fight ensues, and they're like, Mara is the one who's finally like, hey, a lot of innocent people are getting killed here. Maybe we should just go after Orm.
Yeah.
And because once he's done, everyone's going to stop fighting. And he's like, that sounds like a great idea. And then they make out, and they're like, there's like a 360 shot, and the music swells. And as we're just kind of like doing this pan around, seeing all these people dying and blowing up behind them.
To be fair, they took all the people out and they just left the explosions. They look all like dramatic and romantic, but you know inside those explosions,
there are people dying. And I was just like, is this a really appropriate moment to make physical contact? Like, everyone's dying. And then there was a good joke after where he was just like, what was the plan again? But anyway, so he goes and fights Orm. And then her whole thing is like, she says, you have to fight Orm. And Aquaman and Orm fought earlier in the movie, and Orm just destroyed him.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he beat me before. Just because I have a new trident doesn't mean I'm going to beat him. And she's like, well, last time you fought underwater, fight him on land. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, why would Orm be okay with that? Like, because they both swim up and they just get on top of the sub, and it's like, oh, let's fight. And it's like, if
I think
he's the ocean master, he would be like,
what if he kind of chased him? He chased Aquaman up, so he kind of like lured him up there.
I guess so.
He's like swimming, and he got that weird shark looking thing.
I don't know. It just seemed a little bit like, why would you agree to that fight?
The man just pops his head up and sees like the platform. Like, nah.
You've been sorry. How long have you lived on the surface? 30 years. No, we're doing this underwater. Come on. Hey.
Come with me. I'm the king.
Come on.
That's actually funny. After they said like, oh, there's too many casualties.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got to figure this out soon. And I think right after he murdered a bunch of other dudes.
Probably. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. Like if you wiped the board and you just left with Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman movies, that's a pretty good like run.
So you're saying if we only count the movies you think are good?
I think there are 6 movies now, right?
I think so.
There's these Batman versus Superman, Justice League, and
Suicide
Squad.
I mean, I think they're just under. If Shazam is good, then
but that's a 50-50, right?
I mean, in your opinion, some people didn't like Man of Steel, Victor.
But yeah, it's just too bad because of
one director.
No, I'm just trying to think. Like they took 2 characters, Batman and Superman, and they kind of ruined them both in those 2 movies. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you've taken away like the most popular characters. Like, imagine if Iron Man and Captain America sucked.
Yeah,
you wouldn't care nearly as much about the Avengers.
On the flip side, though, like before Iron Man came out, no one cared about Iron Man.
Yeah.
So they kind of like started with a blank slate. I think part of the reason why Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Justice League didn't do as well because they got wrong characters everybody loves.
Yeah.
And everybody knows. Like Wonder Woman, it's like, I didn't ever read any Wonder Woman comics. Maybe they didn't do her character good service, but what they did in the movie, I really liked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like Batman and Superman are so prevalent in pop culture that you'd be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't know who they are and doesn't know what they're about.
Well, that they kind of fall into that trap of, hey, you know what? We're doing this movie. We shouldn't just do a 1-to-1 copy of their character from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
We should, because we can, change it up. And I feel like because of that, they screwed up a lot.
Yeah.
Or it could be the fact that Zack Snyder drew from Injustice, which is the worst versions.
Yeah, the dark versions of them, right? Yeah.
Well, the worst versions of the characters that you want to be watching for a long time.
Yeah, it's like, if you want to do that kind of story, by all means do it. But like, you were in charge of building the foundation of a universe, and you're using a version that not everyone recognizes.
Yeah.
That is contrary to what we're expecting. So
like, imagine the Captain America I got. The Captain America we got was like
the Hydra Cap. Like, imagine if they started with Hydra Cap.
I was gonna say like terrible version of like Ultimate Cap.
Yeah.
Was he like a little racist?
I haven't read Ultimates in a long time, but he was
kind of a dick.
He was kind of I didn't hate this movie. It was definitely one of the better DC movies, like in that universe.
Like if this was the first DC movie in that universe you saw.
Muy bueno.
Very good.
Means A-okay.
I don't know if that. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Like it was coherent. Like everything that happened in it's like, okay, I understand why this is happening. Like there was no extra. There was a lot of world building for Atlantis and like the world that we were in. Yeah. In that movie, I mean, like there wasn't a lot of universe building, is what I'm saying. There was no cameos from other superheroes.
Everything that was talked about was relevant to the movie.
That's right. Yeah, and there wasn't a weird Zack Snyder fight scene at the end, like in Wonder Woman. Yeah. So do you want to wrap up our talk on Aquaman?
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to stop it. Also, as of yesterday, officially on iTunes.
Yeah. And soon, not yet, but soon we'll be on YouTube as well. Yeah. So if you liked what you heard, please subscribe and tell your friends.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. If you want to contact the show, you can contact us at averageuninformed@gmail.com. If you didn't like the show, tell your enemies. Recommend it to them.
That seems like we're just going to get a bunch of people hating on the show. Well, thanks again for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays and whatever you celebrate.
Yeah, next week Victor may be by himself next week, or if not, maybe we'll have a break.
Yeah, we'll probably have a break.
And then we'll start back in the new year.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.